everyone, my name is Ronnie and welcome to Show Me How Dad. Today we're going to learn how to fix a broken pipe. So as everybody in the world knows, Texas got hit with a snowstorm last week, and we're from Texas and we were certainly affected by that. We were without power for 36 hours and subsequently my pipes froze. What you're going to see today I would categorize as a temporary fix. I was not able to find all the materials that I needed to do a permanent fix, but I was able to get my water back on, and that's the most important thing. The first thing you're going to want to do is cut out the broken pipes. On the video, you'll see me using a Sawzall with a metal blade. I did that for speed. You can also use a pipe cutter, such as this one, or one similar to this. This one is designed to cut copper pipes, which is what I have and what you will see in the video. Here's a sample pipe. It clicks on thus, and then you turn it. And you just keep turning it, and as you turn it, there's a blade inside here that will cut the pipe. Now, I did this on a couple of the pipes that are not shown on the video. There it goes. You heard the snap. And now you have the piece that you needed to remove cut out. You have a fairly nice smooth edge there that you can now put your attachments on. What I'm using to replace the copper is a product called PEX, P-E-X. It is a new type of piping. It expands, it will not burst. You can get it in sticks or in rolls. You can get it at any big box store. The first thing you see here is you see the busted pipe. There's a break there. There's a break down here at the base of this pipe. And another break further up that pipe. So there's 4 breaks in total in this whole situation right here. What I plan on doing is cutting all sections of copper out. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm using a Sawzall with a metal blade, a fine-tooth metal blade. This particular elbow has a fitting, a male fitting going into a female fitting here. So what I want to do is back that out. I'm going to be using plumber's tape or thread tape. You can find this at any hardware store. I'm going to wrap this around the threads of my fitting. Make sure you get it down in the threads, and then you can just pull to snap it off, clean up your end, and now you're ready to thread that into your female fitting. Now these are brass fittings. These particular fittings that I'm using right here are SharkBite fittings, and they are brass, so they are soft. Brass is quite soft. You need to be careful with it when you're using a wrench. I'm using a pipe wrench here. You could use a crescent wrench, some kind of a large pliers. I've got my hand on it down there just to make sure that I don't slip and damage the fitting. Like I said, it's brass, so it is quite soft. Here's a copper pipe that I've cut off. I'm going to use my deburr tool just to make sure I get a good edge, that it's clean. That is a ground wire that is in the way. I'm having to just work around it. I certainly wouldn't want to disconnect a ground wire. So I'm cleaning up the edge there, preparing for the push-on fitting, the SharkBite fitting. Make sure it's free of any kind of burrs. Good straight edge. Here's the brass push-on SharkBite fitting. There's the teeth that I had mentioned with an internal ring. That's going to press straight onto the copper. You want to make sure you get good depth to ensure a watertight seal. Here I'm cutting the PEX using a PVC cutter. You can see the copper pipe behind you that I used to measure the length. So you cut through it, get a good, nice, clean cut. Now we're going to use the deburr tool to clean the edge up. It's made for different sizes of pipes. What I'm trying to show you there is that that's a 3/4 inch for a 3/4 inch pipe. And then the black circles there are a blade that will trim the PEX. It will also trim copper, not as well, and PVC. But this will give you a nice beveled edge. It takes any burrs off. We'll do the other end as well, and this will make sure that the press-on fitting, the SharkBite fitting, will will seat down well and give you a watertight seal. I definitely recommend you pay the money and get one of these flutes. It will save you a lot of time trying to fix leaks that are unnecessary. So now we have our pipe ready, cut the length, the ends trimmed. I'm placing that on the other end of that 90-degree angle fitting, and I've pressed it in. Now I have another 90 at the other end, so you can kind of see the plumbing taking shape. There's the finished section going into a male fitting that's going into the female fitting. Here you see the right side is done temporarily with some flex hose and a straight connector. I will come back later on and replumb that to make it look more like the left side and make it more of a permanent solution. Thank you for watching Show Me How Dad today. I hope this video was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. I wanted to show you guys how the press fitting, SharkBite press fitting works with the pecs. So we've cut the piece of pecs, we've trimmed it using our flute, our deburrer. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is a set of teeth. There's an internal fitting, a white fitting, and then there's a set of teeth. And this ring right here compresses, and when it compresses, it releases those teeth. Those teeth are backward facing so that when you press in, it won't allow it to reverse back out. If you press this ring in, it releases those teeth and allows you to remove. Now, it's not easy to do, and you wouldn't want it to be easy to do because your pipe would back out under pressure. But I wanted to show you what that looks like. So if you watch the depth, it's going to be kind of hard to tell, but it goes in a decent distance, a decent depth. So now it's in, it doesn't go in any further, it's not coming back out, and you're locked in. That's a watertight set. To remove it, there's a couple different SharkBite removal tools. I recommend this one. There's another one that looks similar to this, it's smaller, that's a orange C that goes around it and depresses the ring and allows you to pull it out. I have a few of those. I'm not a big fan of them. They can be frustrating to use. This one as well is not perfect, but it works better. So what it does is that one end is a little larger than the other end. This is the end that goes over the fitting. The larger end goes over the fitting. Smaller end goes over your pipe. These are made to fit the size of your pipe. So this is a 3/4 inch pipe. This is a 3/4 inch removal tool. The larger end goes over the fitting, smaller end goes over the pipe. And if you can see this, you press inward and it depresses that ring. Now, at the same time, and it takes some strength and it takes some coordination. So when you depress that ring, that's releasing the teeth and pull it out. Now, if this fitting was connected somewhere and the pipe was loose, that would be a little easier. Or if the pipe was connected and the fitting was loose. Both of them being loose made it a little hard, and I didn't want to shoot it across the room. But you might be able to see now the ring being depressed. And that's how that works. Hopefully once you get it on, you don't have to remove it. But if for some reason you've made a mistake, you don't like the way the fitting is, you have a leak, you want to redo your edge, your end here, maybe recut it and run it through the deburr again, that's what I would do. If for some reason you put this on and you put it in here and you have a leak, the first thing I would do is check your depth. Make sure that you've got it completely seated in. If it's completely seated in and you still have a leak, I'd remove it, back it out, check for any kind of burrs, check to make sure that your cut is straight. If it's crooked enough, it could allow a leak. If you need to and you're not sure, recut it. If you've got enough length, cut as minimal amount as possible. Then deburr it, get a good edge on it. Make sure you get a good, solid, deep push in. seat it in, and you should be good to go. Another thing is the cutter. I talked about the copper cutters, different things that you can do. You can use this copper cutter. Obviously, you'd have to have 360 degree access around the pipe. The other one was the Sawzall if you don't own a Sawzall. Another thing you could do is you could buy a handsaw like this. Again, at any one of the big box retailers, you could get a handsaw, and this one allows you to change the blades out. Now, I don't have the right blade on it at this time, but you could get a fine-tooth metal blade that's used for cutting metal and put this on there, and with elbow grease, you could cut the pipe. Same as the Sawzall, but you're not spending hundreds of dollars for a Sawzall. So if you're in a situation like I was this week, you've got to get, it's an emergency situation, you've got to get the water back on quickly, and you need to use the tools that you have in front of you. You don't want to spend a ton of money. You could buy this hand tool and use the hand tool. I believe this particular one was close to $20. They have much less expensive ones. They just weren't available in the store. I would not have bought this one had they had the cheaper versions that were in the store. They work fine. They just weren't available. I like this one. This one works really well. I would not have paid $20 for it if my water wasn't off. But it works. It did the job. I was willing to pay the $20. Same with this. This is a standard PVC cutter. You can cut PEX with a standard PVC cutter. You could cut PEX with this. You're going to have a little bit rougher cut if you use a blade of some sort versus a PVC cutter. PEX is designed to be cut with a PVC cutter. I think this PVC cutter was $13. You could probably find them for cheaper, but again, we were very limited. Everybody was buying the same stuff. Everybody had the same problem. If you're going to use SharkBite fittings, you need this flute, this deburrer. I don't remember what the cost was on it, but it was a nominal cost. It was not terribly expensive. But you need this. If you're going to be using PEX and SharkBite fittings, you need this. This will ensure you get a watertight connection. You can actually use this, and you'll see in the video where I actually use this on copper. It will actually, now it's harder on the blades, and I don't recommend you use it all the time, but you can actually use it to smooth out a copper cut, a copper edge as well. Now I won't necessarily put a beveled edge on it, but it will deburr it, and it will deburr it enough that you can press a SharkBite fitting onto the copper. And you'll see that in the video. You'll see me using it, just checking it, making sure that it doesn't have any burrs on it. And so you can use it on copper. You can use this deburr on copper, PVC, PEX. It's designed for PEX. So this little blade right here will cut any burrs and get you a good seal.